host of the Gridiron.
But there is one good thing that came out of the game, right? One good thing, right? Giants, we're number one. We're number one. As of right now, anyway, right? Giants lock, stock, and barrel have the number one overall pick. There's no strength of schedule. Well, if this happens or that, if the Raiders lose and the Giants lose, and the strength of schedule goes up and down, we're not sure who's going to. No. Giants are officially the crappiest, absolute, total trashiest team in the NFL this season as of right now. 2 wins. The Raiders pulled it out against the Jaguars. Now, obviously, they didn't have Lawrence in there, but the Raiders managed to pull it out. There was a chance. They had a chance there to go up by 2 scores. I think it was, what the heck was it? It was 20. It was 7. I mean, they had a chance. When the field goal kicker missed a field goal, I would have put them up like 2 scores. I think would have made it. What the heck would have made it? Would have made it like 16-7. Would have put them up by 2 scores. But on that ensuing drive, Minshew connected with somebody for like a long touchdown pass, and all of a sudden the Jags were up 14-13. It's like, what the heck? But then the Raiders went down the field, scored a touchdown, went for 2, didn't get it, but they managed to hold on for the win. So they got 3. Everybody else has got 3. But the one thing I want to point it out was I did a video. It was either last week or late the other week or something like that. What the Giants are looking at, possibly be 2-15. And I said in my video, what could be worse than being 2-15? And I threw it out there. Winning a football game, being 3-14 would be, winning 3 games is actually worse than winning 2 games, because if they win a game like the Raiders did, the Raiders went from being number 1 overall, because with their strength of schedule, plummeted into like number 6 or 7 now. So they had, you don't tell the players this. It's, guys, we need to lose this game, guys, because we need a quarterback. Nobody gives a crap. Right? They're out there to play. They go out there to win a football game. Period. End of story. Right? The players do that. They go out to win the game. Only like the scumbag Eagles, right, who benched Hurts a few years back in 2020, I think in 2020, right, with Peterson, because the Eagles are nothing but low-life scumbags. Only scumbag teams pull their starting quarterbacks out, put the 38th string quarterback in there, so basically they could lose a game. Basically, pretty much, I guess they give it to the Giants, right? Right. There you go. Once again, I'm going to talk a little bit more about that later in the program here. But, you don't tell it to the guys go out to win a football game. Right? There's no, well, we need to lose. No, they don't care. Nobody cares. They're out there to win a football game. So, but the thing is, they won a game and they plummeted. Now the Raiders are out of, as of right of this second. Anyway, anything can happen. The final 2 games, all the other teams with 3 wins could win a game, and the Raiders could somehow pop back up to number 2 or something like that, be maybe right back in the hunt once again for a quarterback. But as of right now, the Raiders are out of, let's see here. Do I have okay. Now this doesn't include the Monday night game, but I mean the Saints, who got annihilated by the Packers, are kind of far out of it. I don't even know where the Saints are at. Saints were number 10. They got 5 wins. They don't have to worry about them. So they're 5 and 10. They have to worry about. But let's see. Right now, the Raiders went from 1st to 6th. The Browns, the Titans, and the Giants. There's 3 teams in front of them. Now the Raiders could. You got the Patriots, who have May. Looks like they possibly have their quarterback of the future. Good for them. The Jaguars have Trevor Lawrence. Hopefully, obviously good for them future quarterback, right? But then there's the two teams in front of the Raiders, the Titans and the Browns. Now the Raiders could obviously jump up from 6th to 3rd or 6th to 2nd or something like that, make a trade and get the sloppy seconds. As of right now, once again, anything can happen. Something can happen for the Giants and whatever. Win a football game, win one of these last 2 games, right, and plummet out of the first spot. But as of right now, the Giants are number 1. Quite possibly, to take a quarterback, right? I'd be shocked if they didn't take a quarterback with that. The only other thing they could do would be, somebody wants to trade with them, they fall out of the first spot and they pick up, move down a few spots, pick up another first-round pick or something like that for next year, whatever like that, to help build the team. But, I'd be shocked that the Giants don't want to take a quarterback. But the thing is that, the Giants would win a game because the Giants' strength of schedule is up there. So the Giants would plummet to probably number 6 or number 7 if they were to win a game. And they would be out of the quarterback market unless they wanted to trade up. It's going to cost you a lot. If you're like number 6 or 7, you want to get up to like number 1 or 2, it's going to cost you. Remember the Giants, when they traded all those picks to get Eli, I think they were 4th. They traded up to 1st, and they traded a bunch of picks just to get Eli. So I mean, if you're like number 6 or 7 and you want to trade up to number 1 or 2, it's gonna cost you. And the one thing is there's no surefire guarantee of a quarterback in there coming out of this draft. There's no Andrew Luck. I said this before. There's no Peyton Manning. There's no John Elway. I mean, if you're the number 1 team and you need a quarterback, you take this quarterback and you got there's a guarantee that this is your quarterback for the next 10, 15. Once again, it doesn't matter. Ward, Sanders, it doesn't matter how great they look, this, that, the other. They all have their pitfalls still. So, and there's no guarantee that these guys are going to take you to the promised land. Right? I mean, college is one thing. It's called cute, fine, and fancy. I couldn't do it. Don't get me wrong, but coming to the pros is a different animal, right? So, but I mean, at least the Giants, somehow, I mean, they have the number 1 pick. I mean, once again, still got 2 games to go. Anything can happen. Now, let me see. Let's see. NFL standings. I know the Colts were. Let's see here. Okay. The Colts are 7-8. They still have a shot at making the playoffs. They still have a shot at let me see. They have the record because the Texans playing. Who are the Texans? Are they playing the Ravens? Who are they playing there? I know Christmas Day. You got 2 really good games on Christmas Day. Oh, the Ravens. You got the Chiefs and the Steelers, and you got the Texans and the Ravens. 2 really good games. Playoff implications on the line. Both games. Huge. 2 huge freaking games on Christmas Day. Awesome. Love it. Fantastic. But the Texans and the Ravens, all right? So the Ravens, they're going to be battling, right? The Ravens and the Steelers are both 10-5. This is a big game for the Ravens. They're going to want to win this game. It's a big game for the Texans. But should the Texans lose, they would fall to 9-7. If the Colts could win, they will be 8-8. Now, I don't know if they wind up, say, both 9-8 at the end of the season, who would wind up winning the division. That I don't know. But if the Colts could finish 9-8, possibly they can sneak in and get a wild card spot. So this is a big game for the Colts. They really need this game. And this is a big game for the Giants. The Giants need this game as well, too. They need to lose this game, but you can't tell. Once again, any given Sunday, anything can happen. I mean, all the bad things that's happened against the Giants this season, if it's just one Sunday, right? all kind of crazy things go in the Giants' favor, right? Tip ball up in the air. Somebody's there, picks it off, runs it back for a touchdown. Somehow we actually get a sack, strip fumble. Somebody picks it up, runs it back for a touchdown. Smith Marset runs a punt back for a touchdown. So, crazy things can happen, guys. Right? The Colts are not that good of a team. They're better than the Giants. Don't get me wrong, but the Giants start getting, Giants get a few touchdowns. They start getting some momentum. Anything can happen. And if the Giants were to wind up winning this game, they will plummet probably out of the quarterback market. So anything can happen. But as of right now, the New York Giants have the number 1 overall pick. So they're in the driver's seat. I said 2 games ago, I said, going to talk about the Eagles at the end of the program here, why that Eagle game could be a huge one and why the Giants have to be very, very careful of the Philadelphia Eagles. That's going to be the last thing I'm going to talk about in my program tonight. But, you got to watch out. It was a big game for the Colts. But anything, you play the games. If you know what the final score is, you don't need to bother playing. That's why they play the games. Anything can happen. Right? So, but we don't even know who our quarterback's going to be. We don't know if Drew Lock, he had an MRI on his throwing shoulder. His season could be over with. We might have to go back to Tommy Chicken Cutlet Parmesan. Boyle would be the backup, and we might have to bring another quarterback in. I mean, who knows? But 1 week at a time. But as of right now, at least we got the number 1 overall pick. So if it were to finish like this, right, that's when, if, once again, I'm going to bring this up here. If Shane and Dable or whoever the coach is or whatever, they'll have their choice. And if they're totally in love with one of these quarterbacks coming out, right? This would be if the Giants finish number 1, right? This would be the second time they've taken the number 1 selection overall. They did have the number 1 overall pick in the 1967 draft, but unfortunately they traded that away to the Minnesota Vikings when they got Frank Tarkenton. And of course, the Giants probably wouldn't have done this, but in that number 1 overall pick that the Giants traded away to the Vikings selected Ron Yeri, a tackle at USC who wound up becoming a Hall of Famer. He was a very good tackle. Now, the Giants probably wouldn't have picked Ron Yeri. They probably would have picked somebody worse. But this will be the 3rd time in NFL history that the Giants selected the 1st overall pick, if it finishes the way it is. But this will be a very exciting time because even the other 2 times the Giants selected number 1, right? They never took a quarterback. They took 2 running backs, Kyle Rote, Tucker Frederickson. They took Tucker Frederickson instead of Gale Sayers or Dick Butkus. Another story for another day.